All right, we're live.
Sometimes this feels like a work hearing exam.
Iron Palace Podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Iron Palace Podcast, the world's most anabolic podcast that can lift anything, including your spirits, if you're down.
Aw.
So, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get a little aggressive with our intros, so, just a little pick-me-up. We'll just pick you right up.
Yeah.
Is that right, Dave?
Sure. I was trying to think of when we've been aggressive, and I was like, I don't remember any of them to begin with.
I don't know. I don't know. I was trying to be nice to the people that get upset at our shorts.
Yeah.
Well, if you'd quit dressing so skanky, you need a 3/4 short, dog. That's way too short.
Dog, these are long shorts.
These are Larry Bird shorts.
I
can see those Larry Bird.
I wish I could pull off Larry Bird
much.
shorts.
Those are 70s basketball shorts.
Only Larry Bird can pull off those shorts. All right.
I'm not pulling off anybody's shorts.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, only you. Wait a minute.
Gross.
You and
I'm
Dave
not wearing
and
shorts.
Caleb are wearing
From
shorts.
here, it looks like you're not, for sure.
I'm all natural, baby.
I don't know what happened, but as soon as we got rid of the couch, this has become a common.
It's cozy.
Sure. All right. Well, to roll into the introduction so we can get into the meat and potatoes of today.
Yeah, we gotta introduce this guest.
I mean, yeah.
I'm not getting in anybody's meat and potatoes.
Crowned as the first Hall of Famer to decorate the halls of the Iron Palace, his strength is only limited to the magnitude his voice carries. This man's presence is felt before he enters a room and wipes the tears of his enemies with the pages of the phone book he ripped in front of your mom. All rise and praise the mighty, the reverent, the monumental Clint Poore.
I need to frame that one. That was pretty good.
The
I like
phone
that.
book he ripped in front of your mom. Yeah.
There's some truth to
That's
that.
my favorite line, I think, in any introduction ever.
I usually gauge how good they are based off Alan.
Just so you know, Randy Ritchie, the guy's the captain of the Omega Force Strength Team. We have a program this weekend in Campbellsville, Kentucky. I may ask him to use that line.
Yeah.
The guy that ripped a phone book in front of your mom and on America's Got Talent.
Yep. Yeah, people think we're just blowing steam over here or blowing smoke, but we're dropping truth bombs, dog.
That's right.
There's
That
a
right,
lot of
Dave?
truth to that.
Sure.
Dave's being abnormally quiet. It's throwing me off
Let you
today.
get going, buddy.
I'm already going somewhere.
Uh-huh.
I would say home, but I'm home. Y'all aren't home.
I'm in a chair.
All right, so to start
I
off,
feel like I'm at home.
Home
Start
is where
off
the
the-
Holland is.
This is a really nice wooden chair.
Holland built
It's a
that one.
burnished mahogany.
Your burnished mahogany is nice, Holland.
Whoa. So to move on to our icebreaker for the day,
I feel like the ice is cracked, at least. Maybe not
it's
broken.
It's cracked, but we're going to go for broken.
It's got his mahogany out, dog.
Put your mahogany away.
Yeah. It came out again.
Oh, my.
Just a tree and a couple
You know,
of woodpeckers,
Dave is sitting
you know
over here crisscross applesauce. You have a perfect line of sight there, Caleb.
I do. I've used
Saving
it.
it for marriage.
What?
All right. So this icebreaker is brought to you by the one and only David Corbin last week, but we somehow got rolling and I forgot to bring it up. So this week seems fitting. Would you rather have flavorless pudding or flavorless Jell-O? And I bet Dave already forgot he asked that question.
That's a good one. Both are gross.
I'm going to say flavorless Jell-O is what I would rather have.
If it wasn't for the flavor, like you wouldn't eat anything that texture.
Jell-O?
Yeah.
We wouldn't need anything pudding
Yeah.
texture.
That's
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'd rather eat flavorless
Well, either
Jell-O.
of them. I don't know.
You can't say either. You got to pick one of the two.
I'm just saying that's why it's a tough question. They both say.
Dave was like, my answer is I starved to death.
I die, okay? Period.
Pudding. At least you don't have to chew it.
Ew. This is
Slides right
You get the
down.
pudding down quicker. Yeah.
the texture of pudding is just gross if there's nothing to taste with it.
Texture of Jell-O is not gross enough to taste.
No, it's cool.
I'm with Dave.
It's cool.
You don't like the texture of Jell-O?
No.
No.
Oh, yeah, me neither.
I mean, if it's in a pool and we're wrestling,
What?
Then we'll see. Yeah.
What?
what? You never
We'll bring our
Jello
own
wrestled?
flavor, dog.
Never Jello wrestled?
Turn this flavorless Jello into salt and vinegar Jello. You feel me, dog?
Is there a YouTube video for that?
There's
that
about,
awesome?
there's
It's
about
behind
to
the
be.
paywall. Yeah.
It's Patreon only.
Yep. You join the Patreon, you can watch Dave and Holland Jello wrestle
It's also on Cinemax at 2 a.m.
right after
Skinemax.
right after you're dancing or sweating to the oldies.
Yeah.
Yes, you had Richard Simmons.
Once Jack LaLanne gets done with them juicers, we're on right after.
Juicer.
But yeah. What about you, Clint?
Yep, you didn't answer.
roast
he
beef.
said-
Roast beef.
Was that an option?
There's a lot.
Roast beef flavored Jello.
There's a lot to unpack there.
I don't
Hurt you, first of all.
Would you rather have flavorless Jello or roast beef flavored Jello?
Well, if you
Flavorless, 100%.
if you put like a whole pot roast crock pot in the fridge, the fat turns to gelatin.
yeah.
So I mean,
yeah.
that wouldn't weird me out as much.
Well,
So
yeah.
I could see where it
sounds
comes
like-
from. Regular Jello, I don't know. It ain't Christian.
It
You know,
just
it
sounds like
there all of a
Satan's
sudden
Jello for sure.
turns from powder into Jello. That's a conversion I'm not into, player.
I'm for sure that'll get you a saved seat in hell if you eat that on purpose.
Nah.
I don't know. Like, I was thinking about that question. You know, anything's hard to eat flavorless. Like back several years ago, I got COVID and lost my sense of taste. It was hard for me to eat anything. Like I could eat a bite or two of stuff, and it was hard. I was like, ugh, this is terrible.
I don't know. I think if I couldn't taste anything, I would for sure eat healthier.
I did the opposite. I was trying to fight it. I was like, I'm going to taste something. I ate like crazy.
Well, I'm just saying,
I
like,
taste something.
That's mainly why I don't eat super healthy is because just I like good tasting food, and I don't like to cook. So I'm not going to be like Scotty K Fitness out here finding all these cool fitness kitchen hacks. Not me.
in a bowl.
Does NutriFit have pre-cooked food?
No, I wish.
Pre-chewed.
If they didn't.
Pre-chewed.
Use code Caleb C. Day. Get you some
All
pre-chewed.
right. Would you rather have flavorless Jello or flavorless pre-chewed food?
Would you rather have flavorless Jello or orange Jello that somebody's already chewed?
Oh, that's gross.
Orange Jello is pretty solid though. Who chewed it?
That's a great question. Let's move on though. We're spending this icebreaker took off a little more than I.
You wouldn't even have to baby bird Jello, really. You don't even have to like chew it. You can
Baby bird.
No, it's more of like a.
just like a.
Yeah.
Let gravity do the work.
Jello sucks.
What?
Yep.
So you'd go pudding?
Depends on what kind of pudding it is.
Flavorless.
Roast beef.
Is that special? Is that special Bill Cosby pudding? Button pop.
You get to pop later.
All right, so we've got a lot to get into today because we might run over a good bit. Is we're going to cover what I'm deeming as the definitive top 10 strongest men in history.
All right.
Since men's fitness or men's health mat, whatever we did before was supposed to be definitive, and it's anything but that.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I've got one that's a lady.
I
So-
thought
I
about
gotta
doing
redo
the.
it.
We can do the. Who do you think this? There's your icebreaker.
I've
Who's
got a
the
top 10
strongest
lady.
woman
Oh,
in the history of the world?
that's going to be a whole separate episode we've got to do, which we might do.
Why do you got to separate it? They're equal.
Not a bad idea to do with Jenna that we've got
Jenna,
coming
yeah.
up.
Jenna.
Jenna Jenkins, she
The 12th woman to lift the Denny Stones.
yeah.
Ooh.
And she picked the Husafit.
Yep.
She didn't manage to walk to carry it, but she
She
did get
picked a 400-pound stone. A 380-pound stone was pretty daggone cool.
Yeah.
The real Husafeld stone.
She got the
she did a
full
stone
circle
tour.
too, didn't she?
At the pen.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah, she went to Scotland, did a stone tour, lifted the Denny Stones at the Donald Denny Day, and then went to Iceland.
And her whole life has led to her moment on the Iron Balance podcast.
Yep, it's a
Did she-
culmination of her
Did she do
achievements
it-
has led her
Did she
here.
do it assisted or unassisted?
For what?
Denny stones.
Assist.
Assisted. She had straps.
Straps. I mean, I don't care either way. It's good for me. But
I mean, yeah. Unless you're lifting the day stones, I will judge you. Ain't that right, Holland?
Yeah.
oh, that just sets up a lot of interesting thoughts today.
Yeah.
We need to get into this.
I'm still a little bitter about
All right, so to get into the definitive top 10 strongest men in history, we've each got our own top 10. So we're going to start at number 10, and we'll work our way up on who's is who, and we'll take turns.
Caleb,
What?
do you have any honorable mentions?
Not yet, because I don't want to bring up any honorable mentions that might have made someone's top 10. So at the end, we'll discuss the honorable mentions. Everybody good with that?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Dave?
I guess.
Okay. So, Holland, start us off. Who's your number 10?
I got the big cats. Bill Katzmeyer.
At number
At
10?
number 10.
Wow.
I'm totally feel the big one coming on right now.
Number 10.
Whoa.
I mean,
Gross.
I mean, like,
I'm right here, dog.
Oh, I think I choked on that.
Whoa. Palace After Dark.
This one's not getting monetized.
Not for that reason.
All right, I don't feel like we necessarily need reasons for why Bill Kazmaier made your top 10. I do feel like we need reasons on why he's number 10, though.
max deadlift, 915.
Your
Everybody-
standard is max deadlift. Ooh,
Well,
that's
no, I'm just
fascinating.
saying, everybody else on my list deadlifts 1,000 or more.
So your standard for strength is deadlift.
Well, I mean,
That's okay. That's not a bad
I mean,
thing.
it's a big,
It's inferior, but it's okay.
it's a full body movement. It's the standard.
I will say most
It's
of
a leg
mine,
overall
press with
strength.
hooks.
mine aren't.
It's grip. It's
Yep.
yeah. I mean,
I'll
it's
go with
everything.
grip part. I'll go with grip.
See, mine's not based solely on deadlift, but deadlift did weigh pretty heavy.
And really,
Did mode heavy in mine as well.
and really, my top two actually
Well, don't
is based off
Hold on.
stones.
Really?
Yeah,
All 10 of mine. are
Atlas.
based
I
on
would
the size
agree
of
with
stones.
that. I would agree with that. That's
Yep.
not bad.
That's
But
actually an
his,
interesting way to
But
look at
there's
it.
flaw in that logic because I shouldn't talk about Kazmaier right now.
that's all right. But so, yeah, his best deadlift is under 1,000. His
What kind of deadlift are we talking about?
that was a
The deadest of
conventional
lifts.
conventional deadlift, not any of the weird like Hummer tire or whatever.
Yeah,
it
that's
goes.
what I
Silver
tried to.
dollar.
I
like,
tried to steer away from the weird.
yeah, because
lifts.
like he hit 1,000-pound silver dollar deadlift, but like, you know, I can pull 150 pounds more on a silver dollar than I can.
Yep.
You know, conventional. So
And I would agree that deadlift and similar lifts are an easier judge.
it's hard to argue that it's on the floor and you picked it up.
True.
You know,
That's true.
but there's so much timing and everything and whatever with the Olympic lifts that I just ignored them altogether.
Olympic lifts have been brought into the guys that have been winners of Olympic medals in the Olympics have been brought into World's Strongest Man historically, and they've pretty much fallen flat on their face.
Yeah,
Not always.
the only
but
one.
yes.
The
Only
only
one.
The only one that really had any success is Mark.
All right, so let's get moving before we spend 20 hours on number 10 on Hollins. David, wait. I'm gonna let you marinate for a minute.
I've got notes.
I know you do.
Oh,
All right, I'll give mine, and then we'll go to Dave. So my number 10, and I can already feel heat from Clint coming from this one, is Nick Best.
Ooh,
Nick Best.
big pick. Interesting. What for his masters lifting?
Everything. I mean, who enters their first strongman in their 40s? Or was he 40 or 52?
The only one I can think of that is
That's a bold pick.
that was his older was.
But my reason's not necessarily
Odd Haugen.
true. But my reason's not because of when he entered. It's lifting he did even after that. He's one of the older people to enter.
Well, he just posted a video where he deadlifted like 500 or 550 for 12 reps. Or
That dude's
something.
insane.
Yeah.
He's
And
strong.
Then whenever they did the strongest man in history, and they challenged Thor's I've already forgot it
The Viking
the mast of
carry.
the mast of Orm.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good. You can remember that.
We did a story on
He
it.
made that up.
No.
No, it's
Nick,
a pretty cool story. It broke the guy's back.
yeah, Nick Best broke it off the supports.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if we have to base it off what we know they've done, that's huge. Breaking a
Huge.
1,000-pound mass
Huge.
off supports,
China.
Yeah.
So-
And he did it in his 50s.
that.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
That's an interesting standard. Should be interesting to hear your number one.
I'd like to add a caveat to Katzmeyer.
You're feeling guilty already?
No, I just, no, it's just that we were talking about, I don't know if it was the last podcast or not, but we were talking about the level of competition and how he didn't need to be any stronger because he was already dominating everybody. So maybe if the competition had pushed him more, maybe his numbers would have been a little better. But I can't.
I need to save that comment.
Yeah, I do too. All right, Dave.
Just put Michael Jordan in the same boat.
Number 10, I have Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 2 when he held back that train. Like, none of your guys are doing that. Not one of them are stopping a train.
It's not bad.
Not one of them. Be easy on him, fellas. He's a hero.
I mean, he did actually catch all that food on the tray in Spider-Man 1.
Yeah.
That was a real thing. That was not
Hashtag
CGI.
athlete.
He just caught it all.
Yeah. You know that?
Oh, that was for real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said it took a boatload of tries.
Oh.
But that's why they looked so excited because they were dropping it, and he
Yeah.
really did catch it, and that was a successful catch that won the movie.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. And also, he stopped a train in 2. That was real also.
It's also true.
Was he the one that held the battleship or the cruise ship together?
No, that was Tom Holland.
Oh, see,
Yes, I did. After Iron Man split it.
I get all the Spider-Man mixed up.
I only like the real one.
Toby,
Yeah.
that's the only real one.
I was about to say which one's the real one.
Don't tell anybody he's actually Peter Parker.
I was going to make another icebreaker, but I feel like we need to move on.
I would say in Spider-Man 3, but the symbiote, that's damn near juicing. So
that's like benching
Oh,
a
this is
quip.
going to get good. He's calling the gear out already.
That's like benching
Oh,
a quip.
my
dude.
God.
yeah.
I'm going here.
Yeah, he might as well be lifting wearing a suit at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, now we're getting spicy. Oh, we're going down
All
the
right.
rabbit hole.
All right, Clint.
Well, number 10. Number 10 is a tie with the man who squatted the all-time heaviest raw squat and the man who holds the all-time heaviest raw total. It is drug tested by WADA, and because these guys do it actually raw, no fake,
WADA
no
what?
nonsense.
They're not even in the SEC, dude. What a...
One of them is in the SEC, by the
WADA?
way. He's in Mississippi State, I believe.
Oh, they count.
Ray Williams,
Ray Williams.
and Jesus Olivares. Ray Williams is a
got Ray Williams on
five-time
my list.
IPF super heavyweight world champion, and Jesus Olivares is a 3-time and current IPF super heavyweight world champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
He
don't.
almost was, but I had someone
Well, I mean,
take
how do
his
you
spot.
separate right now?
He wasn't even
Ray
close to
has
mine.
5. Jesus has 3. Jesus has 2542 total and 1,054 squat, 904 deadlift, and Ray Williams. I mean, I remember seeing that 1,080 squat at the Arnold.
Yeah.
I mean, he just took that thing down and you just went, "Oh my God!"
You know what's funny?
You should watch it on YouTube if you haven't seen it.
You look it up on the IPF, and the IPF will just tell his 1,052 squat but they'll mention that he did 1,080 in competition
At the
but
Arnold.
but it doesn't count because IPF wasn't.
It wasn't IPF referees. It was his USA powerlifting competition at the Arnold. Yeah, yeah.
But I count the 1080.
I do too.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the video. It's a solid squat. I mean, there's no
There's no question.
yeah.
I mean, if you're a referee, if you got any credentials at all, I mean, his hip joint goes below the top of the knee, and both of them do, and they're studs. I mean, studs.
All right, Holland. Number 9.
Number 9, Ed Cohen.
Ugh.
I have no argument for that.
Damn,
Really?
I had him at 1.
And really, I mean,
It's on my fantasy team.
I don't know. I hate to do pound for pound. You know, there are no weight classes in the jungle. But the man did most of these weighing less than 250 pounds.
Okay, let's just stop. Let's go with this Ed Cohen. Let's go ahead and break him down.
I will say,
I've been waiting.
I do have a pound for pound person on my list. It's not
Okay,
Ed Cohen.
pound for pound's BS, by the way. It's world's strongest.
I agree.
strongest man of all time.
I agree.
But I mean, if that's pound for pound, you know, Dave said I should be in the top 10, so I'm not.
Holland made my top 10.
Holland-
Lovers.
Holland in my top 3.
Ed Cohn. Okay, Cohn's one of the strongest humans ever lived and walked the face of the earth. That's correct. Ed Cohn failed the drug test with the IPF in 91, 93, and 96. I think I forgot that right. I may be off. You have to look up the dates on him. Yeah.
So he's not a square.
Oh, hold on. He got suspended once, came back 2 years later after suspension, failed it again, and got suspended for 2 years, came back in 1996, failed it again, and the USPF was promptly thrown out of the IPF shortly after that for refusing to get his butt off the platform. And then the USA Powerlifting took over as the representative for IPF powerlifting, and now they lost it because they wanted to do their own style drug testing and not the WADA's, and that brief summary. Now Powerlifting America has it. Ed Cohn can be responsible for the downfall. He seems like a nice guy. I've never met him. Seems like a super guy, but he could literally be responsible historically for the downfall of the USPF.
Maybe they're
Because what happened to the
squares.
USPF after 1997 when they lost the IPF affiliate? Within 5 years, they're irrelevant.
Yeah.
I mean, that fast.
God forbid, man.
Now, here's
what
the
are they
question.
testing him for?
Here's the question.
Well, the IPF.
Here's the question. Here's the question.
I want to see home runs.
Well, as 83 or 84 when they started drug testing. So Combs can't say they started, and then he failed it. He failed it like 7 or 8 years into it.
Yeah.
But Cohn is a controversial character. If you ask Chip Hultquist, I would almost bet money. I bet $100 on this. If you ask Chip Hultquist, is Ed Cohn the top 10 strongest of all time? I bet he'd tell you no, because he failed drug tests and automatically.
Call Chip right now.
But the reason I'm saying that is because if you ask USA Powerlifting, you ask Powerlifting America, any of those guys, he's no longer top 10 strongest of all time. Nowhere near it, not even listed. Only place Ed Cohn is revered is in untested competitions. Is that wrong? No. But only people that are wanting to
Right.
do untested and not compete in tested competitions are the ones who revere him. In tested competitions, Ed Cohn is not revered. He's banned for life. If you go lift him, Michael Cottney listed Powerlifting America and then goes to Ed Cohn seminar the next day, you're suspended. That's how real it is.
Really?
It's the Ed Cohn rule. You can't be affiliated with a suspended lifter. It's kind of stupid.
It makes me like him more. I like an outlaw.
He is.
If you got a name later,
he has turned into an outlaw figure, and I think that's what his love is.
If you got a rule named after you, you're the man.
But you got to take in consideration, Ed was strong. I mean, 242 squatting 1,019. Come on, that's good stuff. Deadlifting at 900. That's great. But is he as good as Jesus Oliveras raw? Is he as good as Ray Williams?
Yeah, and
They quit testing him. He'd quit failing.
Ed Cohn. That's a good point, and that's what's happened. He left there and he went to the USPF, and they had the Mountaineer Cup, and the Mountaineer Cup lasted, I don't know, on ESPN for 2 or 3 years, and it just.
My number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9.
I'm waiting on you to do it.
We'll quit.
Odd Hagen.
Ah,
There was no way.
the vice grip Viking.
There was no way he didn't make my top 10.
You guys have known somebody named Odd Hagen and not broke that name out on podcast yet?
We have.
Ode Haugen, it's Ode.
Yeah.
No, not from now on. It's Odd Hagen. That's the only way I'll pronounce it.
I mean, like I thought about him, but like most of his world records and stuff are only in grip.
Oh, he's for sure only in my top 10 for grip.
He had the record for the oldest. I don't know if he is now, but the oldest man to compete in World's Strongest Man one time, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Felix might have got that.
He may have broken it.
Odd
I
Hagen
need to-
sounds like another word for kissing cousins.
No.
Going Odd Hagen this afternoon,
See
boys.
this 60, what is he, 60 or 70 yet? Is he 70?
I think he is. Yeah,
If you met Ode, you wouldn't say that.
dude, and he could still just play with the Thomas Inch dumbbell. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
I'm pretty certain, even at his age, he can still close number 4. No doubt in my mind.
No, he
can do it.
cannot. There's only 6 people ever in the history of the world ever done that.
Odd's one of them.
Do you know the 6? I mean, I don't.
No, they're
I was
listed.
just-
If you look up captains on Wikipedia, you can
Yeah.
they'll list the 6.
thought there was 10.
Number 4 is on my list. The one that closed it first is on my list.
All right. So either way, yeah, Ode's only in my top 10 for grip. I'm
Well,
pretty specific on that
He's
one.
good.
and
He's
it,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, but Ode has also done a lot more. He's helped develop arm lifting. I mean, Ode has been fabulous in bringing masters lifters into strongman. And, I mean, Ode has made a big impact in the sport.
Oh yeah. Well, and he trained Martins Lisis for a long time too.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. He could claim that because he was his coach when he
Yeah.
won World's Strongest Man 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The guy's pretty.
The 6th American to win the World's Strongest Man.
He's
Actually,
he's
yeah,
a legend in the.
Should be the
I'll
7th.
give it to him. Yeah. But what's Caleb looking up?
Trying to see who's closed it.
Oh, has Brian Shaw closed it?
No.
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 Has he attempted it?
Unknown.
Because I feel like Brian could do it. I don't know, but
It's a different kind of strength.
yeah, because it just seems though like
The
anytime.
all-time record of three reps was recently broken by what's his name? Can't remember his
Somebody
name.
did it for reps.
Did 3 of them. Close.
Well, and then
Name them, Holland.
Joe Kenny,
He was second person.
He was actually the oldest one. I just seen that. He was the oldest person to close it.
Nathan
Holy.
Hole, yeah,
Yep.
Holy, David Morton, Tommy Heslip,
Oh, he's strong.
Magnus Samuelson,
That's a name.
and yeah, that's the only one that I recognize actually out of that. And Carl Myers
I don't know him. Four of them I know. I've never met, but they're all
He's
tremendously
the
historic.
dad on Family Matters.
See, Myers Co's certification. There was a note that said his certification came after the introduction of the credit card rule.
Yes, I believe he's the only one that came after that.
Yeah. Huh. Wow.
It's an elite group. It's very thin.
I thought there were 10 people. I didn't.
Caleb, you better start training, man.
I can close the 3. That's about it.
Hey.
You need to get certified. We can get you certified as USAW referee. We can contact Randall.
So he's already registered, but
I am a
certified.
certified badass. All right, Dave. Number 9.
I got Lady Liberty. She got out of France and been holding that torch up above her head for 130 plus years. Let's see anybody on y'all's list do that also.
I mean,
That's not bad.
I did a competition last year where we had to hold a sword out, and I managed for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
While getting fed ice cream.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody fed that bitch in years, dog.
From the one and only Buck Buchanan.
Sheesh.
Yep. That
You can stand on her head while she does it.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, and I think he was trying to psych me out, but it ended up helping because I was like, man, I'm eating ice cream. I forgot that I was holding the.
Yeah, that would help me. I don't think about much
Nick
anymore.
Best talked about that. I've seen him talk about how going to they call it the happy place, but letting your mind let go of the pain you feel and just be able to lift. I've seen him talk about that before. Yeah, it's a real thing. If you can do that,
Yeah.
you switch that switch off, you can get a lot more time out of yourself.
Yeah, because I was really I mean, I was feeling already shaky. I'm like, man, this is not going to go well, you know. And I'd already watched the guy hit like 4 minutes or something.
Oh,
and
that's gross.
Yeah, and this one guy, so dude hit 4 minutes, and one dude hit like 45 seconds, and I was like, I'm going to beat that. 30 seconds in, I'm like, oh gosh, this is bad. And then Buck shows up with this ice cream. I'm like, he was like, hey, you want some ice cream? And I was, yeah, but you're going to have to feed me. So he's feeding me ice cream. Made like 3 minutes. Yeah.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
All right, number 9.
Number 9, it's a tie as well. It's for the.
Are you going to have a top 20?
I was about to say Clint's top 20.
No, not quite. No, it thins out eventually.
That's cheating. I also want Theodore Roosevelt then for my number 9.
Teddy Roosevelt would be a great choice. Yes. James Henderson, 711-pound raw bench press. He was the first man to do that, set the IPF world record and the all-time record at that time. And simply because he's been broken, the guy from Owensboro, Kentucky, has to be tied with him. 783 pounds by Julius Maddox, raw bench press. No fake. I don't mind shirts, but it's a different ball game. Yep. These guys are more impressive.
I've got Julius on my list.
To
I knew you would.
tie them with it, I couldn't leave this guy off. I just couldn't because he's awesome. George Hackenschmidt, founder of the bench press, tied with Julius and James.
That's interesting because he's nowhere near the level of strength those guys are.
But
Neither is Nick Best, but you came Nick Best, and Nick Best, this guy had the all-time bench press record of 365 pounds at one time.
Who did?
George Hackenschmidt.
Oh, yeah.
I bench more than George Hackenschmidt.
I don't.
Shit. Got him.
Who'd you get?
Hey, so I got a response from Chip, and he said I wouldn't put him as the strongest. And then he mentioned Fedochenko as he's
Olive Garden's got the best.
he
Fettuccine.
thinks
I
would be-
agree.
but his is pound for pound. Fedochenko's like
Told you Chip wouldn't. And there's a reason. There's a reason. It's because he failed the drug test.
It's because you called him on the way down here and told him.
Did you guys work this out ahead of time?
Nope.
He
Oh,
said
actually, I gave you the wrong one. I gave you my number 8.
he told me he called you yesterday.
I gave you my number 8. He did. I gave you my number 8. The bench press guys are number 8, so I'll tell you my number 9 whenever y'all do number 8.
All right.
Deal. Holland, number 8.
Hold on, let me get back to my list. Number 8, I've got Julius Maddox.
Yeah, kudos right there.
See, I've heard Julius mention about moving into strongman.
Don't.
Yeah,
I don't think he should, and especially now, I don't think he should.
yeah. I think he should. I think he should still get 800.
and then retire.
Yeah, and
Julius can step up into a bigger legend. He can. I don't know if he can move up the list, but he could. His legacy can be sealed even further if he becomes first guy to do 800 because so many people have failed below him to catch him.
Yeah.
There's been 4 or 5 now go after him, and they can't do it.
He would have done it. I fully believe
that the
misload
time
on
they misloaded
ESPN?
his bench.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think he would have done it, no problem.
yeah.
This is
But-
an interesting topic.
You know, it wasn't long after that he hit it in training,
Yeah,
and
I know.
man,
I watched an interview where someone was working out with him, and he was talking about benching 800, and they said, "Okay, well, what bench are you going to use?" And he was walking around feeling the pads, feeling how stable the
Oh,
whole
yeah,
bench was.
absolutely.
And he's
I mean-
like, "But these are like commercial benches. Like these are still nice benches." But he's like, "Yeah, because once you start getting to like 600-700, every little bit." And I was like, "God, I would not like. I couldn't even imagine having to think about the smallest wobble on a bench."
It makes a big difference, huge difference. Keeps your tightness up.
And that's what he said, yeah, which I agree with. It's just, I don't know. Even though I deadlift a lot, benching a lot just doesn't
You
seem
squeeze your
feasible.
butt when you deadlift or squat.
Holland squeezes his butt.
I feel like you're. I feel like we're getting a little.
No, you're talking about being tight on the bench press. You squeeze. You keep your
Yeah.
Do you keep your gluteus maximus tight when you deadlift or squat? Same
No,
principle.
he don't.
I don't know.
yeah,
David, do I?
No,
Oh,
it still ripples when there's still a little jelly in that jam. You know what I mean?
Jello, right?
David do
Jello and pudding.
But yeah, I mean, the heaviest raw bench ever. And like his not. I mean, he obviously doesn't focus on anything other than bench, but like, guy still deadlifts 600 for reps.
yeah.
And
They
that's
can
just
squat 600 plus. I mean, look at him.
Oh yeah,
400 pounds.
I met him in Nashville a couple years ago. He is a monster. I mean, he's
Looks like a
just
big man. So is you ever seen James Henderson? Same kind of deal.
yeah.
He's one.
Thank you very much.
Julius is one of the people like if I watch on YouTube or see posts about, I know how big they are. Like if I watch Brian Shaw for whatever reason, like even though I know he's 6'9", 400 pounds, like just in my head that doesn't register. But whenever I see pictures or videos of Julius Maddox, oh, I know that dude's a bear.
Because people like Shaw and Thor are too lean. Julius isn't lean. Those
That's
guys are
true.
lean, and that lean perception takes away the idea that they're this massive.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been putting that on Snapchats for years. Like it's just because it's lean.
Because it's lean.
I thought you said it was a tuna can.
It's massive.
I swear. Look at that coffee table in the background. I'm standing right next to it.
Is that what you say after every one? It's massive. I swear.
Yeah. It's lean in pictures. I don't
All right. So do you want to hear my number 8
Yes.
before we get canceled?
Yes.
All right. Now this is going to be a wild one because I wanted a wild card in my top 10. It's Iron BB.
Iron BB.
I considered all these people for my list. You guys have done a good job.
World record overhead press. And the only reason that he is in question of being a top 10, or I still put him over Ode and Nick Best, but
Well, yeah.
the reason that I want him in here, but the reason he's not more solidified in here is he doesn't do full shows.
Yeah.
But he does crazy overhead press. And like growing up lifting how he lifted, like in Africa, it's pretty dope.
Yeah.
So Iron BB, and the dude's 400 pounds and can do cartwheels.
I didn't know that was a criteria.
It's not, but
I'm going to change my whole list.
that's just an addition to.
Iron Bibby's a good choice. I considered him, but he doesn't have the credentials to match.
And that's it. That's why, that's the only reason that even though I put him on here,
He's an honorable mention if you want to.
I still say he's number 8. He's probably the only one that I put on here just as a perception of what he could do.
Yeah.
If he were to really apply himself, what could he do? Because I mean, his overhead press is stupid.
What is his overhead press?
He has a world,
503.
yeah, he has a
504.
world record right now.
50. Okay.
He beat Zadrunas by a kilo, I think. So it's 504.
Nuts.
I was watching a thing. It was about Eddie Hall the other day, and so Eddie broke the overhead press record.
True.
Axel. He did not break the log. Zadrunas held the log.
Yeah.
He broke the axle.
Whoa, crazy.
Easy.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, it wasn't log press, but
Don't blaspheme your Zadrunas Zavickas.
Big Z isn't on my list either.
Me neither.
Me either.
I mean,
Low key, I didn't put him on here because I wanted this moment.
So I left Big Z off and put Ed Cohen on mainly for Clint.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Ed Cohn. Great lifter, not top 10.
So what are we on, 8? For number 8, I've got
Yeah.
Travis Law's zipper, and thank God for the work it does on the front lawns. Holding that thing back, son.
Well, it has 182 teeth and holds back a monster.
So, fun fact about T-Law. So, this relates. Is that, so, he's getting into sumo wrestling. This is our buddy Travis Law.
Yeah.
2-time podcast interview.
Soon to be champion of
So,
sumo.
he's getting into sumo wrestling. And I bring this up because it correlates what you just said. Is if you watch the documentary that Martins Lisi's did where he trained with sumo wrestlers, they brought up that if you have a large thing and it falls out during a match, it's literally up for grabs.
Part of the uniform, dog.
It is literally up for grabs.
Travis Law's going to have a 400-pound man like Miley Cyrus in the Wrecking Ball video, and swinging from that thing. He's not even going to be faced.
I came in like a wrecking ball.
They said that people, guys that are. All right, here's where we move on. What's yours, Clint? Quick, before David says something.
8 is, well, I already told you number 8. I got
Oh,
to
so you're going
backtrack to
number
number 9.
Okay.
It was supposed to be number 9 is the all-time deadlift world record holder, Raw, Benedict Magnuson. For conventional deadlift.
I agree with that.
But hold on. Hold on. He's not the all-time Raw deadlift world record holder. He is not. He is the conventional world record holder.
Yeah, I don't count sumo.
I don't either. Neither does God.
He counted in powerlifting the USP or
Sumo's like wearing a suit.
well, it wasn't when he did it. This guy deadlifted 1,075 pounds. You can look him up. Raw sumo deadlift last year or this year, earlier this year. Danny Grigsby.
Yeah, I started to put him on there because I was going to.
I didn't know who he was till I looked that up.
I was going to go. Well,
I
I was
got enough attention for it.
I was looking up the all-time heaviest, and then I saw that, and I was like, I'm just going to drop down and do the conventional deadlift.
Well, Benedict is a stud.
I'm not going to lie. Actually, I forgot about Benedict. He needs to be in my top 10. I might have to do a call an audible and swap somebody.
Yeah, that's like I aggravate Kyle all the time. Kyle works out at our gym, and he's a stud. I mean, he's
Easy.
like
Can't say that about him. He's under 18.
157 pounds, deadlifting over 5. I mean, like
Squats 4.
Well, that's the reason the deadlift is hard to put a measure on how of true strength is because body weight is such a trick
Yeah.
with that.
He sumos, but he does squat 400 for reps.
yeah.
So
It's because it's the same lift.
true.
I don't know.
7.
I kind of tuned it out.
Number 7. My number 7, Ray Williams.
Tell us about him.
That's legit.
I was about to say we've already talked about him, so I guess we don't.
Heaviest raw squat, in the history.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, if you don't count, Paul Anderson's squat, which I don't.
I don't think you got shit on my number 7, dog.
I Paul Anderson, I don't get a lot of his stuff, are unverified weights, or he's standing in a hole and partial range of motion stuff. So I got to go with Ray Williams.
Yep, I would agree, especially if you do Paul Anderson and you want to go by solidly verified lifts, you got to go to weightlifting,
Yeah,
and there's better weightlifters.
yeah.
All right, so my number 7, this is the only pound-for-pound person I have.
Y'all keep saying pound. It's making me real uncomfortable.
I'm going to say pound here in a minute.
It's Jamal Browner.
Nope.
Well, you heard it here. Don't- well,
Scratch him off.
I'm saying
Okay, if he's on there, Lamar Gant's on there. And you don't know who Lamar Gant is.
I do not.
Lamar Gant.
we played backgammon with him on Thursday.
Whips. That's the question. When you post that link to the Ed Cohn video of him squatting competition, somebody asked, "What about if you're going to call Cohn the top 10? You have to call Lamar Gant." Lamar Gant has more world record titles. What about Hideki Inaba? Hideki Inaba has the most IPF powerlifting world powerlifting championships of anybody. So either you're going to do Hideki Inaba as number 1, or Lamar Gant's got to be up there too.
Nope.
And Kobayashi. And Joey Chestnut.
Yes.
Joey Chestnut.
But Jamal Browner at 240 pounds, squat 815, bench 501, and deadlift 1,014.
Solid.
And does reps with 900
I feel like the
on
bench
deadlift.
I feel like the bench compared to I'm not saying that was a weak bench, but compared to his other numbers, that's kind of low.
But these are at his show PRs. Like these are done in a full meet. These are not like one-off certified.
Right. Yeah.
So
not just doing
it's because it's a lot like if you
That's
look.
kind of like Thor's deadlift world record.
it's like
Now we're getting touchy.
yeah, it's like
That's coming up.
it's actually like Julius Maddox. He only does bench.
Yeah.
Or it's like even if you look at Ed Cohen, look at Ed Cohen's numbers. Since he squats such a heavy number, his bench number lacks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or not bench, deadlift numbers lack.
Well, it's always that way. He works. Okay, hold on.
Right.
Hold on,
And I agree.
It's not that way raw. I mean, well, a little bit for Ray Williams then, but they a lot bigger. It's that way so much because they squatted in a squat suit. The squat suit will take your squat way above your max deadlift.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, you see those. You see,
Put
you
a
see
pair of
those-
knee reps on, you gain almost 100 pounds.
Yeah, you see those numbers, and they're like squatting 1,200 pounds, deadlift 850.
Yeah.
Like,
Hello, West Side Barbell.
Yeah.
Is that a sequel to West Side Story with less snapping?
No.
more snapping.
All
Actually.
All right, Dave.
What are we on, 7?
Yep.
I've got, for number 7, I've got my friend Troy Hooper. When McKay's opened, he thought they bought books by the pound and took a boatload of textbooks from school and walked them all the way over, and I thought that was pretty impressive. There was at least 10 in there.
Thought they bought them by the pound.
I'm wondering how many times you're going to turn that light on before you realize the battery's dead.
Until it quits coming back on.
Okay. Anyways, proceed. What's your number 7?
Number 7 is a tie as well.
Don't look so smugly at my lantern being out, dog.
Clint,
The
stop.
first man of the number 7 is the one-time World's Strongest Man in 1998. He's a 10 times World's Strongest Man finalist, 5-time podier. And he broke Nathan Jones' arm in arm wrestling at World's Strongest Man. He has bicep curl 309 pounds for 4 reps. Think about that. Deadlift squatted 617 for 10, bench press 661, deadlift of 862, and he's done. I want you to figure out before I tell you his name. Last 2 feet of strength. He's done the inch dumbbell thumbless, certified.
What?
I want you to think about that.
I mean,
He was the first person to close the captains. He is tied with another guy.
How'd he lose his
First
thumbs?
person to close the captains, number 4 captains of Crush. One of my favorite strongmen of all time, Magnus Samuelson.
wow.
And he's tied. I've got him tied with the 2008 Fortissimus winner, 2 times Arnold's Strongest Man, 3 times America's Strongest Man. And he had a 555 Atlas Stone lift. Let's just go with that. A 585 raw bench and a deadlift of 910. He broke his back and came back and did all those feats of strength. I watched him lose the World's Strongest Man. You know, in church they sing the song, the stone was rolled away. This guy at 2008 at this competition in Charleston, West Virginia, he went up there. He had the Atlas Stone in his lap, lifted it up. Marius was behind him. And he got to the lip of the stone, and it just started spinning, and it dropped down. The whole crowd, I mean, massive crowd at that ballpark. Oh! And Derek Poundstone was not the world's strongest man because of that. But he also has the best name in strength athletics, period.
Poundstone.
He's no Dick Slimmons.
Derek Poundstone was phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Holland. Number 6.
Number 6, Benedict Magnuson. 1,015 on a stiff bar, completely raw, deadlift.
I'm trying to.
It's got to be up there.
At the Olympia.
I'm going to say, because now that I remember him, I want to make him my number 6.
Make it a tie.
You got to go. Yeah, okay, yeah. Time.
It's not a tie.
Who's on your list?
Because with who I have, it's not a tie.
Who is it?
I have Mariusz Pudzianowski.
Spoiler.
At 6?
That's 6.
I don't have Pudzianowski.
My number 6 is
You
Holland.
don't have
for carrying this
Kazmaier,
podcast.
Pudzianowski, or Zadrunas?
Yeah.
That's bold.
Yeah, my 6 is Holland for carrying this podcast for a year.
I agree.
It gets heavy.
So I've got Mariusz Pudzianowski as my number 6, but I would like to trade him
No takebacks.
You trading Pujanowski for Benedict Magnuson?
I think I got to. Especially, yeah. You know what? I'm going to stick with it. That's what I'm doing.
Wow.
I was tempted to go with like number of wins for World's Strongest Man or number of wins for the Arnold or number of wins. I don't know. I was like, well, I mean, that's just
standard.
That's just consistency. That's not all-time numbers.
Right.
I'm talking about one lift. What's the heaviest, you know?
All right, Dave, number 6.
I told you it's Holland for carrying the podcast for so long. That's one of the longest fireman carries I've ever seen.
All right, Clint, what's your number 6?
It's my last tie.
Oh.
Well, this one's hard to stop. I mean, this one's really hard. It gets down to singles after this. The two men that tied, one's a 3-time World's Strongest Man with the heaviest Atlas Stone lift of all time, 631 pounds, Tom Stoltman. Tom could move up the list eventually if he wins other competitions. The other one, he's a 3-time Arnold Strongest Man, 5-time Europe Strongest Man, and oh boy, he holds the all-time deadlift world record because it was legit, and I will explain why. Hafthor Bjornsson, Eddie Hall, you had the advantage.
You have Thor at number 6?
Thor is tied with Tom Stoltman, and you'll hear why. When he did that deadlift, Eddie Hall did it like a specialty. They've got it backwards. Colin Bryce seems like a great guy, but they're lying and they're manipulating that to make Eddie look good. He took as long as he wanted a rest break there.
Yeah. Well, he didn't even do the whole
Thor,
show.
have you ever listened to watch Thor's stuff in the past? Mm-hmm. Thor times everything he does 7 to 8 minutes. That's it. Okay, Eddie took 15 to 20. Thor takes 7 and comes back and does more with an easier lift.
He did make it look easier.
Oh, his God, he could
Oh, no, I
another
agree.
10 kilos on it.
Well, even like he said.
And no suit.
He even said.
Oh, he had a suit on.
Yeah,
Yes,
he did.
I thought he did it without a suit. I thought he
No,
just had
he
straps.
just didn't look like he's about to explode in a
If
suit.
you thought for a second he did that raw.
No.
I
He can
would've
do
called it
he
raw.
can
He had
1,015
straps.
raw.
That's
I think.
okay, yeah, that's true.
I've
But-
got his raw deadlift. But Thor is also should have been a 2-time World's Strongest Man.
I agree.
He was robbed of the World's Strongest Man.
Number 5.
Number 5, Greg Ernst.
Ooh, the backlift guy from Canada, right?
Yep. He has a confirmed.
Yep, we talked about him the other day. I didn't think
Bull.
I didn't know if Clint was going to know him or not.
You don't think that it was confirmed?
It was confirmed. It's still not the strongest.
Oh, I thought you said it wasn't. I was like,
6,720 or 40 was the strongest.
Paul Anderson's not confirmed.
lack of witnesses.
Okay.
Lack of witnesses. They
Whatever
took it
the
out
heck
of the
that
Guinness
means.
book.
Which
Okay,
That's what
a
I'm
whole
saying.
different word.
If Paul Anderson's can be confirmed,
It's
then
impossible. There's no televisions.
I mean, there was a guy that tried to track down the implements and all that to write a book. Couldn't find anything.
That's coming up.
It's like they got rid of all of it because they knew it wasn't that heavy. But yeah, Greg Ernst, 5,340 pounds, heaviest confirmed backlift of that's as far as the actual confirmation of the weights. That is the heaviest amount of weight that a human has ever lifted.
Second.
I said that as far as confirmed weight.
It is second. Yes.
So you're going to confirm Paul Anderson's lift?
We'll get to that in a minute.
all right. So mine is Daniel Bell.
Haven't heard that in a long time. I forgot about
I'm not
that.
even familiar with that name.
Old D Bell. Raw meets. His raw PRs are 1,003 squat, 606 bench, 909 deadlift.
2,500 pound total. Raw. Where'd he competed at? SPF?
Green Acres Flea Market
Definitely not. Hold on.
next to the rabbits.
Oh no.
Next to the rabbit.
So he's competed in
Smell of corn.
UPA, USA, WRPF, USPA,
Where'd he do the lifts at?
NWO.
everywhere.
No, it sounds like a UPA thing.
Sure.
But that's fine. It's strong to be able to do that. Did he do them raw?
Yeah, that's his raw total.
You're sure?
His reps, he's got a squat of 1113 in multiply, bench 683, squat 1102, deadlift 881.
I put him and Ray Williams, Jesus Oliveras in a platform any day under the same standards, same rules. He'll never touch them.
Only one way to find out. Let's put him on a platform.
Can we do that? Can the Iron Palace coordinate that?
Oh, the Iron Palace will do that.
Yeah, we'll have to.
That's an interesting choice.
We'll have to make some rich friends somehow.
If you're listening and you want to see it happen.
Yeah, donate.
All right, Dave, number 5.
I've got Lou Ferrigno because he's big and I know that
Good
name.
call. The Hulk.
I'm actually surprised that you put an actual weightlifter on here.
There's one.
Lou Ferrigno, yeah.
Third place at 1977 World's Strongest Man.
Yeah, I know all that.
I met Lou
That's why I put him on
Ferrigno.
there.
I met Lou Ferrigno about 12 years ago at the Arnold,
Did he look strong?
and he still is a giant.
He's still jacked now.
He's so big. Like, he's such a
You
huge
put him
guy.
and Arnold next to each other right now? Good
Arnold looks like a
God.
little dried up old man next to him.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Especially when he's angry.
But I mean, you know, anybody that can legitimately play the Hulk and all they did was paint him green and put a wig
yeah.
on him. I mean, for real.
Yeah.
That's good. It's a good choice.
Ed Norton's Hulk wouldn't be nearly as exciting if they just painted him green. Shorts.
Mark Ruffalo just painted green.
Just shaking his fist.
I'm always angry.
They'd be like, who let Gollum over here?
His just face turns red. That's my secret. I'm always angry.
All right. Number 5.
Mariusz Pudzianowski. And 5 times World's Strongest Man, 43 international strongman wins. Here's what people refuse to listen to about him. He was 6-time Europe's strongest man, Super Series champion, bench press 640, squat of 840, deadlift 915. He was the greatest mobile strength athlete of all time, holds train pull and plane pull world records. That's just some of them. And he spanked
Now we're talking.
Zadrunas' butt for about from 1997 or 8
What's
all the
Zadrunas
way
look like?
until 2008. Zadrunas has been beaten by him probably. I would guess Marius beaten him more than he's ever beaten Marius.
Yeah.
But Marius is not given the credit because Marius won a lot of his World's Strongest Mans when IFSA and Douglas Edmonds broke away from World's Strongest Man and TWI in 2005.
That's when they outlawed spanking.
After Vasil Virastuk won it in the Bahamas in 2004 after that strange counting thing, the way they did it, and they disqualified Marius.
Oh,
Marius
yeah.
came back 2005, won it.
But the Bush Gore election.
It's kind of something like that. It was kind of weird. But
Same
the reason
kind of
is
situation.
IFSA, with their 4-year history, didn't have the guys over there. But Marius Pudzianowski is so cerebral. If he was in World's Strongest Man today, he and Mitchell Hooper would be a phenomenal competition.
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
Hooper could make this list one day.
Oh, no. I thought about putting him
I thought
somewhere
about
in my
too.
top 10, but I was like, I don't know. I kind of want to let him cook more before.
He needs a moment, not just winning World's Strongest Man, not winning the Rogue, not being the first person to win all 4, the strongest man on earth, and not winning the Arnold twice. He needs a moment, a lift he can hang it on. When he gets that moment, like a log press world record or a
He did break the overhead record at one point. I think Iron BB took it back, but I think he did break it at one point.
Did he do
I
it?
don't know about that, but it's possible. He's good enough.
I thought he did. I could be wrong on that.
But give him 2 or 3 more years.
I agree.
I think he's
That's kind of why I didn't put Tom Stoltman on here. I'm the same way with him as I am Mitchell Hooper. I kind of want to see where they go before I range them on this.
Tom Stoltman has that moment. 631 broke Brian Shaw's 601, 602 Atlas Stone world record. That is, I mean, that's, you talked about lifting stones on one of the podcasts, and you called them dumbbells. You called it stone to shoulder, but I think Atlas stones are one of the greatest overall body strength movements.
Oh, and I agree.
And Tom Stoltman's the king of the stones.
Yeah.
Right now he is. It used to be Magnus Samuelson. From Magnus, it went to, I don't know, Hofthor, to Brian Shaw, to Hofthor, to now it's Tom Stoltman.
It's Tom for sure. I don't argue that. I wish he would have got that 600 though. That
I
strongest
would
man
have
on
loved to
earth.
see that. That'd been a moment.
Yep. I think for me, him hitting the 630 631 stone is still not a moment for me because I still would consider that in a range that Brian did.
He didn't.
Brian, because there was never a competition for him to do it at. He even requested it several times,
So
and they
you're
never put
saying
it in.
because Brian didn't do it in the same era, in the same time frame, he's stronger than Stoltman? I want to categorize that.
Because Brian
You're
Shaw
in trouble now.
Brian Shaw has a 629 stone that he trains with in his gym right now, and he's had it for years. Tom had to set up a special, just the same event like
Stone
that Half Thor had to do for his deadlift. Had to set up its own thing by itself.
Was that the Arnold?
His 630 was it at the Arnold?
Yeah, it was right there. They did the world record breakers at the Arnold on Sunday.
Which one did he do on the?
They brought that sucker out and he lifted it at the Arnold. Got to check.
Either way, I don't say he didn't lift it. I'm just saying
I might be wrong, but I thought it was at the Arnold.
You're saying that
Look it up, see what 631 stone was.
3 more pounds than the stone that Brian trains with.
Exactly. And Brian requested a heavy Atlas stone event like the one he put on, and it never got put in an event. Is the
Brian
only
Shaw
reason he didn't do it.
600, 601, 605, whatever it was, and he said it. He said in an interview he didn't go heavier because I asked him, he said, Brian, you could have done 650 or more. He said, I probably could, but somebody's got to break that world record, and I'll go on. Well, nobody broke it for till Stoltman.
Yeah.
5-6 years.
Number 4.
Number 4, I have a tie.
Ooh.
Of course you do.
Yeah. It's between Edward Hall and Paul Anderson.
Interesting.
If any of his lifts count.
Just keep poking the bear. Huh?
I mean, it's a bunch of barrels with the numbers written on the ends of them.
Are you talking about the 1,200-pound squat?
Yeah. I mean, and it looks like the blow-up weights that they use in cartoons. They blow up.
You mean the ones Eddie Hall squatted, World's Strongest Man?
Hey, the deadlift wasn't blow-up weights.
I mean, Eddie Hall's still not my top 10, so I got no argument with this one.
I mean, 1102 deadlift.
Second place all time.
Exactly. That's why he's not higher on the list.
0 World's Strongest Mans. Official.
Hey.
Only cause for Colin Bryce stacked that competition for him.
You don't have to win World's Strongest Man to be the strongest man in the world.
I agree with that.
That he was never the strongest man in the world.
Fun fact: one of my top 3's never been in World's Strongest Man.
I don't think any of my top 10 have.
Not true.
Lou. Yeah, Lou. I forgot I had one.
Yeah.
All right, my number 4, Bill Kazmaier.
I mean,
The GOAT.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, the guy, yeah. I mean, as far as a strength athlete goes.
I know we have to go based off what they've done, but I still
have that list.
I still have to say, I think Bill would have done more had, for one, he been
pushed more.
Yeah, and that's a lot of there's a lot of people that probably would have made this list had they been pushed more. But
Would Jordan have destroyed LeBron in a one-on-one?
Yes.
Kaz would have destroyed them.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
All right. Dave.
Mine I saw spring break 97, a guy in front of Ripley's, believe it or not, a tap-out shirt. He told him he could rotate that ball even if they turned the water off. They wouldn't turn the water off, but I believe him.
I
He's my
stopped
number
the
4.
ball at Ripley's.
Yeah.
I did. Put your hands right there and you stop it.
Sometimes I still wish they'd have turned the water off for him. But I said he had the look in his eye. I'm pretty sure he could have done
I'm
it.
pretty sure he could have done it.
Did you
I sized him
Did
up.
you stop the ball?
I've done a lot of things with the ball that I'm not willing to talk about on podcasts.
Well, it did have that enema going out right out of the top of it.
That's why he didn't stop it. He got sidetracked.
I'm a sucker for good laminar flow. I'll stand there and look at that thing all day.
All right, Clint, number 4.
Number 4. This is tough. And it came down to just a few minor things. But with this quality of the top 4,
Like
number
how
4
cute
all
they are.
time is 27 International Strongman wins, 4-time World's Strongest Man, 3-time Arnold Strongest Man, 2-time Strongest Man on Earth. Probably one of the first or second greatest grips. He's a captain of crush gripper. He's lifted the Thomas inch and the Millennium dumbbell with both hands. 465 log press, 560 Atlas stone minimum. He's done a blob run with 19 blobs from 30 pounds to 150. That's 15 pounds to 75 pounds with in left and right in 46 seconds. And 15 World's Strongest Man top 10 finishes.
I run from blob.
If he would have got that 5th World's Strongest Man, or in 2010, the count back had been changed, he would probably be number 1 all time. but Brian Shaw did not get the count back. Brian Shaw he is
Number 4?
Yeah, he didn't.
Kidding me?
Well, you got to hear the credentials of the other 3.
Okay, fair. I mean, I have no argument with Brian Shaw being in the top, but
If you want to talk promoter, he's top 5 now already.
number one.
I don't know. As much as I don't like Douglas Evans, the way he treated Americans, he was still a heck of a promoter.
Yeah.
Colin Bryce is good too. Colin's real good. So is Dion and Willie.
All right. Before we break into the top 3, we have a new special segment that we are calling.
I'm not sniffing that stuff.
No.
Ain't no way.
What?
I already knew you wouldn't, but that's not it.
We talked about that earlier.
So before we get into top 3, we've got to do two things.
Let Dave sniff it again.
Well,
I'm not falling for that.
for one, we've got tip of the day with Dick's Lemons.
If you're going to deadlift and you want results, do it long ways and underhanded.
That's going to take a while.
And that's Get Down on It with Dick's Lemons.
This has been Get Down on It.
All right, we got
Dick's Lemons.
We got some ads to hit real quick.
I was going to go, spoilers. At my number 3, I had Mr. Zone because he's got to be pretty tough to make that shit. Hand it to me.
Hand it to me.
Come on, Clint.
No, I don't do that stuff in competition.
Woo! I don't.
I don't do it in
You got to put it
competition.
to the nose.
No.
I can smell it.
Oh, that's the minty one.
Yeah, that one's great and
You didn't even
terrible
shake
at the
it up,
same
dog.
time.
Whoa.
Come on, Clint.
No, absolutely
It'll
not.
wake you up
It's
for the
not
drive
that bad.
home.
No, I'm awake. I promise you.
It's not that bad.
I think the last one messed Dave up because Dave's
He was in the fetal position on the floor.
that's not that one.
He was like, my hat don't fit.
I was vapor locked, dude. I had to do something.
My hat don't fit.
All right. Well, Holland, you're gonna hit it.
Well, yeah.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, NutriFit. You need some pre-workout, creatine, anything. Go to NutriFit.com. Use code CalebCDay. You need some new clothes. Go to Hosswear. Use code TIPP. You need it. It is. If you need a new mouth guard, because what that mouth do, go to New Age Performance. Link in the description for all this stuff. And then what am I missing?
Well,
TIPP.
we didn't mention the promo code for Zone, which is
Okay.
also TIPP.
Yep.
And I lied. I had Mr. Zone at number 2. I left 3 blank out of respect.
Okay.
Who's Mr. Zone?
Whoever makes
AutoZone.
sells.
Who owns that company?
Mr. Zone. I'm assuming. I don't know.
We have no idea.
Michael Cotney?
His name is Richard Zone.
Oh,
All right. So
His friends call him Richie.
normally we don't rush through the ads and stuff, but we got to get to it. So to land in the official top 3 of the Iron Palace, Holland, number 3.
Number 3, Hafthor Bjornsson.
Not surprising. I knew.
That's not a bad choice.
I got no argument.
I mean, heaviest deadlift. Well, every one of his lifts is, other than the world record deadlift, every other one of his lifts are within spitting distance of world records. The guy,
Keg toss.
keg toss world
Just got
record.
that one back. 56 pound for height.
The guy's, it's hard to argue against him as a strength athlete,
I've got no argument. I agree entirely.
He's easily a top 3. I agree.
Yep.
I got to come up with a new number 2.
Would you like to hear my number 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
Lasha Talikadze.
Oh, man, they just missed my list.
So now, typically, I don't understand a lot of weightlifting because I don't know what's heavy. However, I do know that a 223 kilogram lift and snatch and a 265 kilogram clean and jerk is stupid heavy. Anybody that can take 265 kilos from the floor,
Especially lifts.
from the floor to the chest and then press overhead,
He didn't press it. He jerked it.
either way,
It's a different lift.
265 kilograms overhead in any way, shape, or form.
You tell me he put 585 pounds over his head.
Yep. These are certified. These are Olympic records.
And he counts Paul Anderson's lifts.
He counted Nick Best.
That's number 10.
You counted Eddie Hall.
That's a horrible argument.
At least Hofthor's legit.
Yeah.
Either way.
Thank God you put Hofthor over Eddie Hall. I mean, that would be a real shame. Make him.
Oh well, there's no. There's no argument that Hafthor is stronger than.
I mean, if you're one of Eddie's boys,
yeah.
I mean, it's he's got his fan club.
Yeah.
I like watching his videos sometimes when he's not goofy.
Yeah, I like watching him haze Brian Shaw.
Yeah, whenever he hit him in the head with a medicine ball, probably my favorite thing I've ever seen.
Did you see where you met him at the airport and it was like he was holding up a sign like tiny penis or something for Brian?
Yep.
Eddie's a good salesman. He sells himself well.
All right, Dave.
And Brian takes it well too.
We're still on
like
3?
He
Yep.
takes it
I left 3
well.
blank out of respect
Oh, okay. All right, Clint.
for Dale. So.
Number 3.
Number 3 holds the world record for most international strongman competition wins from 84. 4 times world's strongest man. And this is what got him over Brian Shaw. 8 times Arnold's strongest man at the heaviest competition on the planet. 6 of those were in a row. 2-time IFSA champion. 3-time Masters World's Strongest Man. More records you could count. In 2009, Fortissimus, Big Z, Zadrunas. He's got to be there.
Yeah, I'm surprised you put him at 3.
The top 2 he can't touch, and I'll explain why.
I've got no debate with this.
I mean, yeah.
I feel like our top 3 is going to be rough to debate because I think
Big Z's a
Oh, you just
solid
wait.
lifter.
Number 1's going. I got a comment for that.
all right, not David Holland. Number 2.
I got Stoltman.
That's number 2.
Yeah.
Ooh, already?
Really?
That's bold.
And it's
Please don't say Luke.
no, it's Tom. Yeah, no, it's Tom. And
It's actually their other brother, Dave Stoltman.
yeah, Dave Stoltman.
That's
Reginald.
bold.
Yeah, it's
The Stone?
it's the Stone World Record.
Really?
I think that is. I mean, I think that is the single best measurement for overall strength.
I think it elevates him from from bottom half of the top 10 all the way. Yeah, that's
And
legit.
And I mean, that's the record.
And
Again-
he said his goal is to be 5-time world's strongest man, but he's got to have an Arnold to be really the best of all time.
Yeah.
Got to have an Arnold.
Because I mean, the Arnold is the heavier of the, or
It's brutal.
usually the
There is
heavier
no-
of the
it's
competitions.
My only argument for him not winning an Arnold is, if this is true, if he's solely focused on World's Strongest Man
He
and
is.
doesn't pay attention to the events for Arnold. If you only train events for World's Strongest Man and you just completely disregard for the Arnold, I can see it.
He's strong enough to win the Arnold. He just never put them all together. I mean,
Yeah.
his overhead press is 460 or something.
Oh yeah,
And his deadlift is, when he's on point, it's getting close to 1,000. And at Hummer Tire, he's got to be right at 1,000.
He's got to figure out how to get.
He's got to put it all together.
He's got to get over Mitch Hooper.
He's already done that. He beat him at World's Strongest Man this year. He
Beat him
pounded
once.
Dude, Stoltman won 3 of the events in the final.
Oh,
I mean, Stoltman is a stud.
that's what I'm saying. He's just got to, like you said, he's got to put it together to get over Mitch Hooper, because Mitch Hooper is never going to slip. Mitch Hooper is going to have these solid numbers every time. So Tom's got to be able to put it together.
I don't count the Rogue as no. The Rogue is not there with that, and neither is the. The problem is Hooper's got 4 big wins. I would count World's Strongest Man, the Strongest Man on Earth, because that was just brutal.
Oh,
and
yeah.
2 Arnolds. So
yeah.
I mean, technically, you could if he. Only thing Stoltman's got is the Stone over him right now.
We'll have to go to field day ribbons.
I think
the
Stoltman
tie.
can absolutely beat Mitch Hooper. He's definitely stronger.
Stoltman could be.
It's just, it's really going to come down to, if you're going to judge by titles over strength, it's going to be rough because you're going to have to pick who's playing the rules better and who's actually stronger.
He's the one of only 2 people who should have been winners of the World's Strongest Man from England.
Mitch Hooper reminds me of Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was so technical, and he knew the rules. Well, he memorized the referees' training books, so he would know where every ref would be on the court in any situation.
He mentioned that in a video about
in case he needed to get away with a foul.
Yeah, he mentioned that about the referees at the strongest man on earth, didn't he?
And so like and Mitch has it figured out. You know,
That's what I mean by it's hard. For me, it's hard to decide who's the strongest on earth based off wins.
6'8", 430. My God.
It's hard for me to decide who wins based off titles because of that.
That's my dimensions on Grinder.
There's three men that could qualify in that kind of category. There's only three men that I know of that's ever. No, there's four men have won. They're good enough to say that they're 6'8" or bigger and 430. Ted Vandepar, 1992 World's Strongest Man. Tom Stoltman, Brian Shaw.
you're only 6'6".
Brian Shaw and Hafthor Bjornsson.
On Grinder, he's
I mean, you put those guys together. I mean, that's monster.
Right. And that's my thing is Mitch is very strong and has the strength to back up knowing the rules and playing the game.
Yeah.
It's not taken away from how strong Mitch Hooper is. It's just he plays the game very well.
He's excellent at it.
But then Tom Stoltman, that I'm confident is stronger than Mitch Hooper.
Sometimes.
I think they should wrestle.
Russian.
Go back to Holt.
In Jello.
We're going back to.
I'm not going. No, they don't have to do that.
Just lose.
They should do moss wrestling.
Now that would be interesting. There's no rules to break in that.
Stoltman to kill him.
But that's the point.
Stoltman to crush him. That's pulling a bar.
Yeah.
I mean,
Stick.
whatever. Stoltman would probably break it in half.
Yeah. I'd like to see Stoltman and Martins Lisi's do that.
Yes.
Because Lisi's is crazy good.
Yeah. All right. Number 2.
Brian Shaw.
Is number 2?
Yep.
I'm really interested in seeing your number 1.
Brian Shaw. I mean,
Brian Shaw.
yeah. We
I
discussed most of his stuff.
I think these are going to go quicker because
It's hard to, I mean, he belongs in the top 10.
no matter
Top
what.
5.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah,
He
no
makes
matter
top
what.
5.
I think the only list he doesn't make top 3 in is apparently Men's Fitness magazine, whatever we did. Put him at number 10. I don't know what that was about. So my number 2 is Hafthor Bjornsson.
Wow, 3 and a 2 for Hafthor.
I had a tie with Mr. Zone and Kim Jong-il, number 2.
Oh, my God.
I don't have many of his numbers.
Is Kamala going to be number 1? Because that's what it's looking like.
He played a 7,700-yard golf course the first time he ever played golf in his 50s and got 11 hole-in-ones and shot like 38 under. So he was smacking that thing, son.
Spit on that thing, didn't he?
My God.
So yeah, Thor's my number 2.
He put a Dijon on it, son. And he also invented the burrito. Come on.
Yeah, Thor's
His official state biography says he invented the burrito, and no media lies to their people.
Right.
So anyways, Thor's number 2. You've got Brian Shaw at number 2.
I've got
Who's your number 2?
Number 2, the Russians feared him. He had
Rocky Balboa.
2 decades. For 2 decades, longer than any other person in history, he was feared and known across the world as the world's strongest man.
Ronald Reagan.
He was one of 2 people that transformed strength in America. Clean and press, 485. Snatch, 375. Clean and jerk, 485. Bench press raw, 628. 1,200-pound squat.
Chris Kyle?
Ed Cohen.
Bill Kazmaier said he is the king of strength, but his greatest thing is his faith in Jesus Christ. And he is a one-arm side press. Now, this is crazy. Of 380 pounds. Push press of 560 and has one of the heaviest lift ever recorded by a human being. A back lift of 6,270 pounds. And here's some something to Holland went with that other guy from Greg Ernst.
Yeah.
I use the USAWA's back lift records. Al Myers, 2,915. Steve Schmidt, 3,050 in the back lift. Official back lift. Very same style Paul Anderson did. Paul Anderson doubled that. Paul Anderson is...
Allegedly.
No, he did. Paul Anderson was the definition when Bill Kazmaier at World's Strongest Man, he said someone had heavy hips. Have you ever looked at Paul Anderson?
I've never felt him.
Yeah.
He had the hips. It's just genetic. Paul Anderson was something nobody else ever was. There's only 2 people that I know of, maybe 3 with Marius. 2 people I know of when they walked into a competition, the Russian team said they were scared to death of Paul Anderson. And he was gentle because they knew how strong and how good he was. He's the last. Think about this. how strong he was in his day. He was the last American, you're quoting Olympic weightlifting, last American to win the super heavyweight gold medal in Olympic weightlifting in 1956 in the Olympics. And here's what he did. This is what you don't know. This is why I love this guy. That story in 1956 is kind of emotional. Paul Anderson got the flu shortly after arriving in Australia. Mm-hmm. He went to warm up. He couldn't press a few hundred pounds over his head. He struggled the day before warm-ups. And this is the story they tell in this Paul Anderson Youth Home. He went back in his room. He got on his knees. He said, God, if you'll let me win that gold medal tomorrow, I will serve you the rest of my life. Paul Anderson walked out there the next day and won the gold medal, last American to do it, heavyweight. And he spent the rest of his life, the next 2 years after that, he went to Las Vegas, did a show, and raised money for the Paul and I've talked about this many times at Omega Force. The Paul Anderson Youth Home, where he took all the money he made, went to Vidalia, Georgia, his hometown, and it's the last place for young men before they spend in prison the rest of their life. Last chance for them. And he did that out of the kindness of his heart. I mean, the man's, I don't have any argument with Paul Anderson. You can say what you want about his 1,200-pound squat. The size of his heart puts him as a number 2, period.
I got no argument with that.
I mean, he was, and when Bill Kazmaier says he was the king of all strength, pretty good reference.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get emotional there, but
No.
Paul Anderson's cool.
Oh, Paul Anderson's definitely cool.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked, to go ahead and tell you, we talked about this well before. We were both going to mess with you about this Paul Anderson thing.
He's on my gym in my wall. I've donated to this place before. I mean, that's a pretty cool place. I've never got to go there yet, but I'd love to see Vidalia, Georgia, see the Paul Anderson Youth Home. It'd be a pretty cool trip.
Podcast trip.
Let's go.
All you got to do is call him. Call his wife, Linda. She's still there, lives on the place. I think his daughter runs it now.
All right, Holland.
Oh,
as soon as you're done texting your side hose,
yeah.
it's time to
Wait
get
a
down
minute.
there.
He was
My number
texting
one.
me. Hold the phone.
My number one
Number
is
one.
Angus McCaskill.
Oh,
Really?
You deny Paul Anderson, but you put on Angus McCaskill.
See, I'm not going to lie.
Jesus.
I wanted to put him on here, but I couldn't
I knew
do it.
somebody was going to do it.
I couldn't do it.
Too.
I mean,
I wanted to.
I mean, the man lifted a boat, picked up a horse, threw it over a fence. I mean, come on now.
I mean, obviously, I'm not going to argue with you, but
that's just got to be left alone.
I ever since I read that story about Angus McCaskill, that dude's dope.
Yeah.
How big was he?
He was supposed to be like 7 foot tall.
Something like that, yeah.
Think about if he was one of the people in that day, 7 foot tall, with Brian Shaw's
He's supposed
genetics.
to be 7'9".
And he was like 400-something pounds.
That's skinny for what he was.
Fair. That's actually
Yeah, because Brian's 6'9" and 400 pounds.
It's true.
Yeah.
And I'm 6'6", 270-ish, 265.
I thought you were going to say I'm 6'6", 400 pounds. I was
The
like,
camera really it takes off weight.
I was like, don't you know this is going on YouTube?
I built this throne a lot wider than theirs. That's why that's why there's room in here. All right, my number one, Brian Shaw. Hands down, Brian Shaw.
It's a legitimate argument.
Yeah, I mean,
Angus McCaskill's not bad either, but I mean,
Only reason I didn't put Angus is because I have no definitive proof.
exactly. See, I went so hard on the verification stuff that I thought that Angus would be funny because nothing can be verified on his. It's all hearsay.
Which
Which
to go back to my number two for Thor, I didn't put out like one of the main reasons that I specified Thor was that same massive arm lift. The guy broke
good choice.
Guy broke 1,000-year record
And walked with it.
and walked with it.
An SCL competition in Iceland or in Norway.
How awesome is that?
yeah,
You can see that on
Yeah,
YouTube.
I've watched it many times.
He grabbed those ropes and just
A record that when it was set broke the guy's back that did it.
that had to hurt.
yeah.
And then you've got Thor that just like he did the deadlift.
Didn't they make? Okay, I might be wrong. Did they make him SCL's raw? Did they make lifters compete raw? Did they make him go raw in that?
I don't know.
I don't know if he had a suit on to walk with that or not.
I know it was in the snow, so he's wearing enough stuff that's probably hard to tell.
The visual on it is incredible.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, for that lift alone, regardless, I mean, there's plenty of other arguments to if you even take that lift out. But that lift alone, I was like, hands down.
If Thor can win a couple of if he can win a couple more Arnolds and maybe throw in a strongest man on earth to go with it, if Shaw decides to do it again, people show him some respect for what he's done. He's done an incredible thing. Thor could be number one.
Oh, I actually agree. I mean, even Mitch Hooper has said that he sees Thor coming back from his pec tear and kind of like starting at strongest man on earth. He said, I see him coming. And
5 events. 5.
Yeah, he won 5 out of 8 anyways. So
5. And if he didn't have a 6 and a 8 or something, whatever those oddball ones.
Yeah, I was like, it's
if
kind of
Terry
like,
Hollins hadn't screwed him, how close would it have been?
it still would have been because I think Mitch beat Thor by like 12 points. So it still would have been closer, but Mitch still would have won.
Yeah, I mean it would have been.
It wasn't like an Eddie Hall swing where that one rep threw him off. He still had quite a bit.
Thor kept his focus. He did, his credit. He kept his focus this time. You're
absolutely.
not going to mess with Thor now.
Yeah.
No, that's why I think this Thor is going to be stronger than old Thor.
I wish Colin Bryce would call and suck his pride up and go apologize to the man and write him a big check to show up at World's Strongest Man.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think Giants Live should do that too because
that is Colin Bryce, Giants Live.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking just
Giants
World's
Live.
Strongest. I was thinking World's Strongest, but at the Giants Live competition, they're trying to break this deadlift world record.
Who's going to do it?
The only man that's capable right now of doing it is not in the show.
No,
I agree.
No, Thor's the only one capable.
Yeah,
I 100% agree, and that's why I know like Mitch Hooper is a really big, like he really likes to push that 2018 Thor is the strongest person that's ever walked the earth. I would argue that this Thor that's coming up right now is going to be the strongest person ever walked the earth.
I'd say 2025 Thor is.
What is he? 33, 34 now?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got 2 or 3 years where he's going to be. You got to remember, if I got my numbers right, Zadrunas is the oldest person to ever win World's Strongest Man at like 35. Nobody else has ever won it.
But look at Zadrunas.
Yeah, Thor's currently 35.
What I'm saying is there is the I didn't like it when it happened, but it's just the eventual. You're not going to be able to keep the guys that competing in World's Strongest Man and the Arnold and Strongest Man on Earth are not getting older. They're getting younger.
I agree, but
I mean, Thor's got.
If we're look at
he's
Big,
got 2 or 3 years to be able to run with that. It's going to probably be hard to keep up with him.
I would agree, but my thing is like if you look at Big Z's build whenever he was 35 winning World's Strongest Man, compare that to what Thor is looking like right now. Very different. Big Z was almost as wide as he is tall.
Yeah.
I mean, still strong as hell, but
That'd be an interesting thing. Put a tape around both of them, see who had the bigger chest back in the day.
Yeah.
Pervert.
I bet Thor's about the same size.
That made me think
I really
of,
think it's like I think Holland said. I think 2025 Thor is going to be, given he doesn't get injured again, because I think this year he would have absolutely wrecked shop had he not had that pec tear last year.
if he stays away from powerlifting.
Yeah, 'cause that's what did it.
Yeah, he was
Bench press is good for nobody.
Excuse me?
bench press is is the world's most popular lift.
It's the world's most popular lift. The deadlift is the world's strongest lift.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I'll keep my comment. I was about to say.
Caleb does not like bench press.
No, I'm not good at it, so why would I like
It's
it?
because it's late. It's not a okay. All right, here's the trick.
Look at my arms, dog. Look how long them bad boys
No,
are.
don't give me that stuff. Zadrunas' arms that long too.
What?
How
tall is Zadrunas?
6'3", 6'4", something like that.
I got him by 2 inches.
Happy Home's been broken up over less.
And he's got you by several hundred pounds.
No, yeah.
Big Z. Shaw can bench press well over 600.
He's built different though.
Hashtag.
Really? You just compared yourself to him earlier going,
He's got you there, Caleb.
All right, allegedly. Fair point.
I mean, the reason people don't like to make excuses for the bench press because it's a lift that you're never going to be good at when you're younger. You're going to be better as you get older. Where the squat and the deadlift, you can be good at it really quickly. That's why so many people, when they're doing their online training programs, they push them to do squat twice a week, deadlift twice a week, and bench press. They're never going to catch up with bench press. They're all weaker, almost always weaker bench presses, but they can have these big squats and deadlifts because it's the same lift.
Yeah.
They can gain strength real quick because this is a big, strong part of your body. This takes work.
Yeah, it's all posterior chain. You know,
Yeah.
like yeah.
All right,
But
Dave.
they don't like to hear that.
Yeah, I tell people all the time. I'm like, the only people that don't like bench press are the people that aren't good at bench press.
Retweet.
You know.
All right, Dave. Number one.
Joe Biden for having the strength to carry this country on his shoulders
Oh, my
for
God.
4 years and pave the way for Kamala to set this stuff straight. Look, we don't even have his recruits in yet, boys. We got to give him a couple more seasons.
Dude.
All right, Dave. Hold on.
Oh, my God.
You've earned yourself the mute button. So.
And another thing, all right? The Green New Deal, we got to push it.
I mean, one thing. I mean, he did survive all those falls on those stairs.
Yeah.
You know.
Guys, this sucker's 0 to 60. 3 seconds.
All right, Clint. Number one.
I got to catch my breath on that one.
Take my breath away.
Okay, this man was robbed just like Joe Biden robbed an election.
Whoa.
Too
This
soon.
man was robbed from 1983 through 1987. He is a former World's Strongest Man announcer. He is also a member of the Omega Force Strength Team. 930-pound squat, raw bench press, 660-pound. Used to hold the all-time world record in the bench press, raw. 886-pound deadlift, 915 Highland Games deadlift. He did 24 and 25-pound powerlifting total. And now this is cool. In 1980, I mean, who wouldn't want to do this? They put up like a Smith machine squat with Playboy bunnies on top and short shorts. I mean,
Yeah.
and he squatted 934. He's in only one of 2 people in the International Sports Hall of Fame, along with Paul Anderson.
And he makes a hell of a green bean casserole.
His seated
Probably.
military press is 448 pounds for 3 reps. 1,055 silver dollar deadlift.
Did you say seated military press?
Yep.
Okay.
How much weight was that?
448 for 3.
That's so stupid. That is just.
This is where he gets
that's
underrated.
stupid heavy.
And this is to your point. First person in history to lift all 5 McLaughlin stones, which later became the Atlas stones.
All right. Yeah.
He was and is the probably most transformative figure in all of strength as we know it from Iceland to the United States to Australia. William Kazmaier. Kaz.
Yeah.
He is the greatest strongman of all time. There's only 2 people that transformed strength as we know it.
John Cena and Della
First was the man who transformed it for Kazmaier, Paul Anderson. Second was Kazmaier.
That's way off.
I mean,
If he was not robbed, if Douglas Edmonds didn't hate Americans so bad,
oh yeah,
from 1983, 82 to 2006 or 2004. No, it ended in 2004. And 2006, we had an American. For 24 years, we were robbed and said we were not as strong as other countries. When we had the strongest man in the world, Jeff Capes is a paper champion, England. And
Paper.
John Paul Sigmarsson was a paper champion for 2 of his titles. He legitimately won it in 1987. He did not defeat O.D. Wilson in 1990.
I heard he wears ladies' clothes when he's at home by himself.
And you're like the paper that you tear out of a spiral notebook with
William
little things on the side of
Kazmaier
it.
is the 7-time,
Seven.
count it with me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
That's more than
World's
2.
strongest man winner. Nobody can touch Bill Kazmaier.
Dang straight.
Not without his consent.
man, now I'm all fired up. Let's go.
If you
lift.
don't like Kazmaier, you don't like lifting.
If you don't like Kazmaier, you don't like Jesus. That's it. End of the show.
Pretty close, right there.
I'm going to unscrew this so I can drop it.
and
And I will tell you this, Kazmaier was the inspiration behind this speech. This was really cool. I don't know if you've ever seen this speech.
This is your army, then where do they
in
go?
2001, in I believe it was Zambia, on the Hercules Hold, Phil Pfister from By God, West Virginia, got up there and said,
Yeah, Phil Pfister's
America
a cool
will
guy.
have world's strongest man someday. I will win it for America. I'll keep coming back. America will have world's strongest man one day. I will be there. And he said, amen. And 5 years later, Phil Pfister, who is one of my honorable mentions, won the first American in 24 years to win the world's strongest man. Was he strongest of all time? No. But did he do something nobody else ever dared? He called his own shot.
I want people to start
Yeah.
calling me Hercules.
we talked about how Kazmaier was going through this big tear, and then they're like, you can't compete anymore.
It's all because it was a show.
Yeah.
They're like, especially like at that era, the World's Strongest Man was a show.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
They're like, let's let a European win it.
I mean, it was a show more than it was a competition, as a sense of they didn't want him to keep dominating.
2 years after Douglas Edmonds was removed and left to form IFSA, an American wins World's Strongest Man. Since that time, Phil Pfister has won it, Brian Shaw has won it, and Martins Lisis has won the World's Strongest Man because we are no longer discriminated against. They're not being held back. Colin Bryce has opened it up. When Douglas Edmonds held back, Douglas Edmonds is a great promoter. God bless his soul. And he's a man that came up with, he wasn't. Daniel Webster came up with the song "In Your Own Time," and Douglas Edmonds used to say that when he's a head referee at World's Strongest Man, "In your own time, lift." But Douglas Edmonds did not like Americans blatantly, and all the guys that competed back then, you could hear them. They'd talk about it. That they blatantly discriminated against Americans. Why do you think Grizzly Brown was there? What? Really, Grizzly Brown couldn't compete. He wasn't strong enough to win that. They knew that. They didn't, and they screwed up in 1990 when they put O.D. Wilson up there against John Paul Sigmarsson. O.D. Wilson kicked his butt. And they put a track race as the last lift. O.D. Wilson had to finish dead last. John Paul had to finish first. Well, Lord God, O.D. Wilson weighed almost 400 pounds. How's he going to run with a bunch of bricks on his back?
Yeah,
And they rigged it because they didn't want an American win it. O.D. Wilson is an uncrowned 1990 World's Strongest Man.
Thanks, Drake.
And Bill Kazmaier, 7-time World's Strongest Man.
Because you're a paper champion.
No, John Paul and Jeff Capes, which Kazmaier correctly called them out, are paper champions.
That's what I said.
Yeah, those guys.
Paper, like that. Give me that. Where'd it go?
Stretch.
Paper champion. All right. Any honorable mentions?
I got to get my list.
There you go. Sorry about that. Got a little carried away. Got fired up.
I mean, yeah.
Honorable. You got any honorable mentions?
Paul Anderson.
Well, you know, I was thinking about that, and I was like, you know, like Louis Cyr, Arthur Saxon, you know, some of those guys.
Good choice.
We really need to do like a Hall of Fame top 10 because, like we talked about before, those are more Hall of Fame and not strongest men to walk the earth.
Right, because
they're going to be in this group. A lot of them are.
You stack them up against Half Thor,
and
they're not going to look that strong. I guess it maybe on like. Because the Cyr press, the Cyr dumbbell.
It's a lot like the argument we had of the last one with Apollon being on it.
Yeah.
He had no business being in top 10 strongest on the earth.
No.
I mean.
Yeah, that's
like hard, though. That's non-revolving axle, 366 pounds.
It's hard, and I'm not arguing that he was strong. He's definitely strong. It's just, look at your top 10.
No, I didn't put him in there.
Does Apollon fall in here? Does Louis Cyr fall in here?
Louis Cyr could.
Yeah,
but none of us mentioned him.
Well, there's one name I think deserves to be on there that I didn't mention, but because he was during the time when Americans were not allowed to compete at World Star, or they did not pick the highest quality Americans, especially after 1990, 1991 World's Strongest Man, 1994, 95, and 96 World's Strongest Man. He's hard to beat, and he was one of the most cerebral people ever to compete. Magnus Vermagnuson.
He almost made my top 10.
He's awesome.
I almost had him in my top 10, but I just...
And the Nightmare O.D. Wilson, have you heard me go a little speech about him? Uncrowned 1990 World's Strongest Man. IPF Super Heavyweight World Powerlifting Champion 1988. And Phil Pfister from West by God, Virginia. And he is I'd love to, if you ever see him, if you ever see the Omega Force thing, group, Randy has a log where Phil Pfister signed it. His giant wooden log, his squat weighs 575 is what weighs empty. And he put weights on the side of it. But Phil Pfister signed it, and he put his hand on it, and he drew an outline of his hand. Oh, my God. Not even close.
It's close.
Nope. You got to see it. It's freaky. You got massive hands. I mean, your wife's very, very proud of you. But my last
She is.
my last honorable mention is, and I think he will be top 10 by the time it's all said and done. Mitch Hooper.
I agree. Mitch Hooper is one of my honorable mentions.
I mean, I don't know anybody young that's up and coming that could be there, but there's
I would say Evan Singleton. Evan Singleton, I've been watching him pretty close. I think he's got a shot.
I think he's got one thing holding him back. I don't think he has the genetics. I think that's his biggest problem.
That's racist.
No, I mean, look at me. I want to be Holland want to be world strong. I want to be world's strongest man, but
Holland can.
5'7", you ain't gonna be putting Atlas Stone on a 48-inch block.
Yeah.
Not with that attitude.
That's like,
Go ahead and do it, Dave.
yeah. That's, you know,
It's all about the attitude.
I was about to say you're poking the right bear here. If you get Dave fired up
Dave
on
will try
spite,
I mean, Dave will try it.
you fire Dave up with Celsius and some spite, and he'll do anything.
So the king of the stones,
Not a sponsor.
the greatest lift I think on this would be to prove the greatest, strongest man of all time. If that was the case, it's Magnus Samuelsson. He's the only one that they changed it 1 year for, world's strongest man, and had him do chalk only on the Atlas Stones.
Oh, yeah. No.
Magnus
no way.
smoked them.
God, you imagine that?
And after that, they went back to tacky.
Yeah.
But Magnus he didn't have the greatest deadlift, but give him an Atlas Stone. I mean, he was, good Lord. And he was big dude too. I'd like to shake Magnus's hand.
It's a lot like this.
It's a big hand.
Feels just like that.
Your wife should be extra proud now.
Hear that, honey?
Somebody's feeling lucky, isn't he?
All right. That's what we're going to
Is
have
that why
to...
you were talking about Dave in those short shorts?
These things get the juices flowing, son.
There's never a reason
Squirrels
why.
running.
I just can't help it. Look at him.
No.
No.
He's been trying not to the whole time.
I've been
fighting the
watching.
urge.
I've watched his Elijah's.
You know the meme with the guy from The Simpsons with the strippers dancing in front of him? He's like, it's Clint trying to look over here the whole time. He's going to get me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the definitive top 10 strongest men in history. Take it or leave it.
And one lady.
Okay.
Lady
So,
Liberty.
Clint, thanks for coming here all the way from Kentucky.
You're welcome. Thank
is-
you.
We've talked about doing this episode for quite some time now, actually.
We're an hour and 52 minutes in, and we didn't stop.
No.
Like the second we did this list, we were like, Clint's gonna have
Yep.
We're like, we knew you were taking notes.
It was a fun. It's a fun thing to talk about because there's so many people you can involve in. Everybody has a different opinion.
Yep.
I mean, if you picked your top three where everybody put in there, I'd say top four. Everybody put in there: Kaz, Shaw, Zadrunas,
And that's kind of what I figured. I figured the top four, they're pretty much going to be similar between all of us. There's probably one each that was a little bit different, but for the most part, yeah.
I mean, Angus was kind of a joke pick.
So okay, if Angus is a joke, who is your number one?
Well, I Brian. It'd be
But you didn't even put him in there.
Brian Shaw. He was
did.
my number two.
Oh, was your number two?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shaw. I mean, he's one.
I had Shaw, Stoltman, Halfthor.
Yeah. Okay.
But all right.
Pretty good.
Been a
No Zadrunas?
I'm going to be, I left Big Z out because I think everyone just knows. And I don't want to put, I
That's
didn't
like I
want to
said,
put
everybody
together.
knows Kazmaier. Everybody knows Z. I mean, I'm not a huge Z fan, but he's undeniable. He's like Thanos.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am inevitable.
Yeah.
He was unbeatable
From
for a while.
2005 when he first 5 or 6 when he won his first IFSA Worlds through his last World's Strongest Man at 9, 10, 12, 14 in 2014. I mean, Zadrunas was literally, other than Brian Shaw. I mean, Brian Shaw was right about that. That's probably, it's hard not to argue that wasn't the greatest era of World's Strongest Man history when they went back to back for 8 years between the two of them. I mean, it's pretty phenomenal.
I agree. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. This is Clint Poore. This has been the 10 strongest men in history. Anybody got anything else to add before we wrap it up? Dave? All right.
It's definitive.
Every battle is won before it is fought. Sun Tzu.
Well,